I mean, I think we're live. Ladies and gentlemen, we were just going to get together.
Put on your hat, you fucking bollocks.
Oh, sorry, yeah. We were just going to get together to potentially
Fucking
just talk. Me and Jamie, we like to cover stuff. We may have recorded it. We decided not to.
Watch the proudest puncher. Watch my big box top. He'll never be the greatest of all time. He'll never be the greatest. It's English Retriever.
Well, we know that Crambo's not going to be better than Big Box. I can't.
Is that another horse that I told you won a grade 1? Ah, jeez.
Madness.
You call yourself a grade 1 snap?
I mean, that's the worst part in it. I get like Blue King Daru, I said, didn't I, in that grade 2 would get beat. And then I said I couldn't have Crambo as favourite in that race. Fair play to him. They won it nicely in the end, didn't he? And there was a bit of distance between them and the ones in behind. So I don't think Tiopu will be losing any sleep, but fair play to Crambo. Good for Fergal O'Brien as well, isn't it? Because he's great for racing and to get a grade 1 winner. Obviously, that breaks the duck before Dysart Enos goes to Cheltenham as well. So people won't be able to say that, oh, the romantic story, how nice it would be to get a grade 1 winner. They'll just treat it as the respect that it should be, that it's just another horse running in its own right. So we are going to cover Boxing Day. 27th, we'll have a little look at as well. And then if we want to go beyond, we can. We're putting a time limit on this that we'll be doing an hour and a half. That's all the time that Jamie and Scotty can be bothered to spare me. No, jest. It's all the time that we really want to spend on it. We don't want to go too far into it. We'll see if we can find some bets. There are a few bets I've already had, to be fair. But you know how it is with prices early up and then things change, all that sort of stuff. Like we talked about Daddy Longlegs weeks ago, that sort of thing. I won't be sharing them so much as like an all my bets type thing, as in saying these are the ones that you should bet on. But I'm more than happy to tell you guys what I have bet on as we go through things. Anyway, so before I pull up the Racing Post screen, Scotty, last minute draft in. How are you feeling? Excited for Christmas or are you excited for Boxing Day?
Excited for Boxing Day, of course. Looking forward to some scran tomorrow. Got a bottle of champagne in the fridge ready for 9 o'clock. So, yeah, mate, looking forward to it.
9 o'clock? You wait until 9 o'clock to have your champagne. Jamie, what time are you getting on the sauce tonight?
The stream is crap, lads.
I mean, wait, what is in what's going on? It's
absolute crap. Like it's not even moving. I mean, yeah, you're very bad, Dave. Is your son on the internet because that's what's happening?
No, he's not here. But there's no one saying in the comments. Let us know if you can see it. Let's have a look. The problem with live, isn't it? It's like it's fine on here. It would normally go. Anyone in the comments having a bad stream? It might just be. Well, let's have a look. I've got an advert. I put aggressive adverts on there. YouTube always says it. I've always wanted to know what happens.
Well, everything looks fine. No.
We look good.
They said it looks fine.
They're saying connection's fine, Jamie. It doesn't, mate. It's just one of them minutes. Sometimes it can go a little bit funny. They'll soon tell us if it's as long as it's okay on mine. Perfect, lads. Wayne even said yours will catch up, Jamie. If you've had an update, you said as well, didn't you? So right, we should be all right. But if you do get stuck, you just put your hand up and tell us. I'll get the stream going for the Racing Posty bits so we can pick the race in. Before I do that, well, while I'm doing that. Do either of you have any absolute good thing races that you're desperate to talk about and we can get to them first for Boxing Day? Oh, nice.
Yeah. Aintree, yeah.
Oh, nice. Okay, well, we'll do that. I'm going to sort out the presenting of the stream now. When it comes to Boxing Day betting, gentlemen, and obviously now that overnight prices don't get best odds guaranteed and things like that, tactically, do you normally get excited like me and try and get stuck in when the final declarations are in, or would you be typically waiting until the day? I'll put that to you first, Jamie, if that's all right.
The only bet I've had, Dave, is obviously Shishkin for the King George ages ago. I wait till the day. I couldn't be bothered. I don't have the time. But to go study, I just do it on the day. I just sit down and relax, have the 2 laptops going, my phone going, and bet away.
Good lad. Right, hopefully I can get this live stream going. Scotty, how about you? Do you not like typically? I know obviously it's different now that, like I say, odds and things have changed. But would you normally have a bet before, or would you wait till the day?
No, I don't have my routine normally every year. I'll just have dinner, and in the evening I'll probably go through the cards and write everything down. And I'll just go in on the first thing in the morning, probably about 8 o'clock, and then just sit and suffer for the rest of the day, and probably get smashed in the pub and probably chase a little bit because it's once a year, but I still gamble responsibly. So
good man. Well, there's not as many races as there used to be. They've obviously reduced the fixtures, but they have chucked in this Aintree meeting. Jamie, I know Scotty had his hand up, but you touched on the fact that Aintree, there was a race you wanted to dip into. I mentioned there's a handful of bets that I've had. I have had a bet at Aintree. I've actually had 2 bets at Aintree, which we can go on to as well. But Jamie, the floor is yours. Which race do you want to talk about at Aintree first?
Oh, it's the Grade 1, Dave, the tolworth.
It looks good, doesn't it, for tolworth?
Yeah, it does, yeah. I see there. He's not favouring anymore with Fire and Glory. I wouldn't have Fire and Glory anyway. I thought that wasn't a great Royal Bond, to be honest with you. The ground was very, very bad, really, in the Royal Bond. So, I'm sure the ground is a little bit better in Aintree. I suppose the 2 concentrated, the Django Bay and Tell Her the Name. They both ran an Ascot. I thought Tell Her the Name did everything wrong in that race, and Django Bay just got past them right on the line. I suppose they're going to improve. Django Bay is definitely going to improve. But Tell Her the Name one day in Huntington and absolutely rocked home. She's 11. She 11-2. 11-2. I think that's a great bet. I'm going to back it to win. I think it'll win. And it's like when Keelan Woods got off. This is the best horse I've ever ridden, and I think 11-2 is massive, and I'll be all over that. That's my nap for the whole Stevens Day. Yeah, Tell Her the Name. Back each way if you want, like 11-2.
Well, that's it. It's an each way. It is an each way play type race, isn't it? When there's those sort of prices, if that's the way you're going. But you're quite bullish in that one. Django Bay was the one that Nico went to ride, didn't he? When they were talking about, was it Lucia? Was that same weekend when they were talking about? Must be.
Yeah. He went instead of going. Yeah, was it Lucia? Was at Wetherby that day, wasn't it? Yeah, and he stayed for Ascot for Django Bay. But I just like the way Tell Her the Name did it at Huntington. I think it's probably might just improve past. There's a pound in the RPRs. I suppose that's the other side of it. Django Bay post a better RPR the next time with natural improvement. But I think 11-2 is absolutely massive on Tell Her the Name.
I like it. And it does look a good race, to be fair. It looks like there'll be plenty of clues going forward, regardless of who wins it. There'll be horses in behind, I suspect, that we'll have an insight to as we go forward. Ben Pauling, I remember he's had a few horses in the past, didn't he? Like Willoughby Court was one that got beat early in the season and then went on and did good things. Obviously, went and won the Neptune after with a big knee on Wolf. So, I know obviously it got beat by Django Bay, but like you're touching on the fact that his last run was pretty good, I'd expect Ben Pauling to progress maybe a lot more from their first run than maybe a Henderson's one would. But my opinion in this race is I'm stumped. I don't think I could possibly have a bet in this. Farron Glory, I do think that as much as it was a bad Royal Bond, when they first priced him up at 9-2 or 5-1, I thought, well, that looks a bit big. But then he is about to turn 7 as well, isn't he? So he's entitled to be a bit more forward than some of the other ones. So could get progressed past. I think the race is priced him about as it should be. I did have Florida Dreams down as a horse to follow. I think this horse wants a bit further. I know typically like a bad ground tolworth at Sandown when you used to get likes of York Hill winning it. Sometimes people would say it would be a pointer for going to a Ballymore. But I don't think Aintree Tolworth is going to be as stamina laden as it would have suited him. But I like the horse anyway. I don't think he's anywhere near up to this yet, but looks an all right race. Scotty, are you having a bet in this? Anyone you like?
No, I'm a bit stumped like yourself. There's I think Jamie's horse has got a bit of a chance, but I wouldn't be going mad. I don't like Django Bay. I'm just not a massive fan. Camsinas would be the one that I'd probably poke each way. Obviously got a bit to prove still, but I think it's a winnable race. It's a very open race. I think Farron Glory's probably not had a bit of the respect he's probably deserved for his Royal Bond. Everyone said it was a weak race, but I think, is it King of Kingsfield? He was second, and that's going up against, is it Mirazal West he's running against a couple of days later?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I'd just be keen just to see how that works out. But no, for me, I'd just be going small each way on Camsinas. I was impressed with him at Haydock the last day. So, yeah, but just a small one for me on that one.
Nice. Well, when I put the little tweet out, I know it was late. A couple of people mention your bets below. 2 people mentioned that horse as well, Camsinas. So there's a few people that are liking it, but it's a nice competitive looking race. Like I said, there'll be plenty of clues before and after. Obviously, we like to look towards Cheltenham, but obviously Aintree Festival as well. There will be some clues going in for handicaps and races that are going in there. So it is quite nice. Jamie, was there anything else from Aintree before I start to windle through some of the races that you got any attention on? Because I feel like you're just balls deep in Tell Her the Name and that's your Christmas, isn't it?
Yeah, that's it, Dave. No, I've not nailed for Aintree. No.
Fantastic. Right, Scotty, when you had your hand up, was anything from Aintree or elsewhere? Because I'm happy to divert and then come back.
No, it was one at Aintree, and I put it up last night. And I actually seen Darryl had tipped it today, so I was like, oh, okay. Not stealing his thunder, but it's Riders on the Storm. I thought it was an obvious one. In the veterans handicap, he obviously goes well at first time out. Got the form in the book from the old Roan last year, Aintree. I think he's down £9, I think, from that. So I think this is pretty much a penalty kick. Topville Ben's probably way past his best now. Still got respect for him. It's probably just Venetia's to beat. but it's not been seen for a while. I'd go for Riders on the Storm. It'd probably be my banker at 12:30, so it could be a long day after that, mate. But yeah.
Mad. Well, the thing is, I looked at that and then I looked back away just purely for the fact that 11-8 when it opened up, I was like, well, it's obviously short enough. He was one that I looked at when there was entered before being declared that I thought, oh, this could end up being a bit of a bet. Carl Hinchy wants some Christmas money, I would imagine. Some sort of affiliation still with the horse, no doubt. Even though he packed up the game, didn't he? How unfortunate that he could have won with Fugitive. Never mind. But I looked at it just, again, because it was just the price that it was. But I have gone back. I don't know whether I want to get stuck into it or not at that price. But like, I do think Riders in the Storm is the one for that race. So it's on the radar. I haven't struck that one yet. One I have struck, though, at Aintree. Lads, there's a new opening card, and we are doing our spuds at Aintree. This is what we like to see. First race, 11:55. Twofold the reason why I like this horse. One, I like this Sherry Dam anyway. When it was entered, again, I'm waiting for the final declaration to come through. I was desperate for it to run in here. She's been well fancied in a couple of races. I did like a whole spiel on why I fancied her, right? So she carries the Daviate Silk, so it's got DY and my initials on it. That's good enough reason, right? But I think her opening mark of 115 is pretty good, right? Each of her races, when she ran in a bumper, I think first, then 2 runs over hurdle, she looks like she's been getting more and more mature in each of them. In that last race, she travelled maybe not the best, but like as well as anything else in the race. And she was just run out at the end of the race by a 132 rated horse. I think that the mark of 115 looks generous. I think the Skeltons know that as well. And now she's back in against her own sex. I think she's achieved 115 rating, which I think is lenient, but running against the big boys, I think she's a good bet. My only tiny teeny worry is this realization running a conditions race where it doesn't get a penalty for its good win. So I think that'll be well fancy, but that's just helping the price of Sherry Dam. So I have backed Sherry Dam. I've had 37.50. I got excited. I've gone for 1.5 on it. But I think Sherry Dam wins the race. Any of you looked at it, thought of it, give a shit about it? Because it's very lowly for me, isn't it?
Not looked.
There's Mar Palmer there. Says, Jamie, any views on Parker Kings at Leopardstown? ABW is tipped it. Now, from our good old friend Dawn Leading Bulger last night, we were told that Belgo Prince is not going to be beaten in that race, Mark. So don't back.
Is that Boxing Day the 27th?
26th. Yeah, sorry, it was Stephen's Day in the handicap, yeah.
Well, what we'll do then is, like I say, we're very like backwards and forward, going through things and looking at where we should be with the racing stuff. I'm happy to dip over there. One other bet while we're at Aintree, just for the purpose of putting it up, is one that I have bet. So we might as well just cover it while we're here, and then we can always. I mean, I know we can't go for every card, basically, can we? So rather than keep going back and forward, in here, right, the Novices Limited Handicap Chase. I have taken a swing on Tamarisk because I think that the 3-1 is generous. Obviously, wasn't his day when he ran at Chepstow, right? That was in the race where the Adam Wed ride came under scrutiny, didn't it? Colonel Harry was well fancied after to go and run well in the Henry VIII, wasn't he? So it was a race where Colonel Harry was well supported. Tamarisk ran no sort of race. They said sort of put a line for it. He's then gone and run second in that Henry VIII, and he's now rated 148. So I know that's using someone else's form in there, but Tamarisk was favourite to beat that horse. And yes, I know he didn't. I know he showed no form, and they well backed this Colonel Harry.
Dave, what's the ground like an Aintree? What's the ground like an Aintree?
Soft. And I think
perfect. Yeah, he loves that. Yeah.
And I think that, and mate, he's been dropped £2 for the privilege of that first run at Chepstow as well. And obviously, it wasn't his running, so it's generous, I think, for them to drop him down a couple. I thought he would end up being like a 6-4 point, given it being a small field. The 3-1 just looked too big for me, so I have only had 25 on. Say only 25 quid. I've had a point on Tamarisk because I thought it was okay. It is worrying, right? Second time after a wind up, hopefully will work. Cheap pieces being applied. I'm worried that they might be clutching at straws a little bit with him because it's a bit of a break, really, isn't it? If you think from Chepstow's season opener to now to have his second start. So maybe he's had other problems and things in the bell. So there's obviously risks attached, but I can just imagine he'll be relatively popular. And if they have got everything sorted, which you've got to trust they do, then I think Tamarisk at 3-1 looked like an okay-ish price. Right. I'll quickly just wobble over Aintree, right? There's nothing in the bumper we want to talk about, I guess, is there? We'll just say no. Obviously, Coconut Splash may or may never win another race, but we'll leave that one alone. I really like that's Aintree done, right? So Leopardstown, do you remember what was the race? Parker Kings, was it?
No, it's
Kings, wasn't it?
It's not. It's novice handicap.
Let's see if we can find it. Novice handicap hurdle, is it? There's the one. Yeah, so Parker Kings is the one that ABW said. What was the one that Dawn said yesterday that we're stealing? I don't think Joe's even put the video out yet, has he? We're getting the tips out there before.
Belgo Prince. He was beaten. He's off the same mark. He was beaten in the nose last year in the race by the Greek, by Gordon Elliott, the Greek. It was a nose. You should have won the race, and he's off the same mark. And he's 4-1. That's a great bet. That's the bet.
Ooh, Scotty, was that one that you had a look at, or was it Jamie and Dawn that have lured you into thinking the same horse too?
I'll see how the day goes. I might have a go, but it's not something I've really got my eye on, to be honest. It's not my kind of punting race. Novices handicap hurdle. I mean,
it's all right if you've got a handle on one, isn't it? Or you've got an opinion before they entered. I feel like they're the types of races, aren't they? Like, you need to know about it even before they've even been entered for a race. You've got to have one in your mind, didn't you?
I mean, looking at the weights, and it's 4-1 favourite. They must know something. That's all I'm going to say. I've got no reason for it to be favourite other than that.
It's Tony Martin.
Exactly.
Enough said, then, isn't it? Yeah. Right. What we'll do? Well, because we've got Leopardstown out, right, gents. There are some races. There's good races there, right? I'm going to just quickly skim through them, and then we can just pick up on what we want. Kicking off with a maiden hurdle that's in here. Mirrors All West, King of Kingsfield are clashing. Like, I don't want to be like rude about King of Kingsfield because I do like him as a horse, right? But I think he needs better ground. Obviously, he kind of proved me wrong with how he ran in that Royal Bond. So maybe I'm being harsh with him. I do think he's a bit of a two-miler. He has got lots of experience now. What sort of like, I mean, I know this sounds mad, right? I don't think any of us would bet against Mirrors All West just because of the hype and all that stuff behind it. But what sort of level do we think King of Kingsfield's run up to already? Like, do we think he's high 130s, low 130s, pushing 140s? Because I'm just thinking of what Mirrors All West is going to have to do on debut to beat King of Kingsfield, regardless of what standard we think King of Kingsfield is. Where do we pitch it? Do we think Mirrors All West is just a good thing and it should win? Or do you think the experience of King of Kingsfield means we won't be disappointed if he gets beat? Obviously, some of Willie's needed runs before, didn't they? But you'd expect, surely we all expect Mirrors All West to win, right? Jamie?
Exactly what you're saying, Dave. It's like, this is probably going to be the best day of the ground of the week of Leopardstown, so he's going to love the ground. But I think, as I said to you before, he needs a big field to be planted on the line. The string of seconds is a huge worry. Like, do you know what I mean? If he gets into a battle, does he like hills? That's another thing, because there's a steep climb up to the line at Leopardstown. I wouldn't be going against Mirrors All West at all, but look, it wouldn't shock me if King of Kingsfield beats him, to be honest with you, but he's well-touted horse. The only thing I'd say is that I know Mahon's Way was third in the bumper. Now, the second of that bumper hasn't come out yet. Mahon's Way was absolutely stuffed in Cork. Now, maybe that needs a bit of better ground, and it's quite possible that it didn't stay 3 miles or whatever, and the ground was a bog in Cork. But, like, touted-wise, you just hope Mirrors All West on, because people have backed him for a Supreme or Ballymore, and a lot of people will be hoping it'll win. But it's just a watching race for me. I wouldn't be touching the race.
100%, yeah. And obviously, I accidentally, like, on purpose did this. I didn't mention James's Gate. Obviously, didn't see him last season.
Well, he's moved to Martin Brazil
before. Yeah, moved to Martin Brazil. Like, he's a potential that doesn't necessarily mean he'll go and win first time up. But, like, in terms of, like, a deep maiden hurdle, Scotty, Mirrors All West not exactly going in against nothing, is he? He's getting not exactly a cakewalk to start. A couple of half-decent horses. I know it's very hard to say in it, but, like, like Jamie said there, I agree. Like, it's not really a race we're betting in. Just have to, like, watch and see. But what's your expectation of the race? Like, I know it's impossible to say we fancy Mirrors All West because we're basing it on very little. But do you think, like, King of Kingsfield, in terms of like a standard, because we know what he's done, do you think that both, like, James's Gate and Mirrors All West would have to be pretty special to beat him, or do you think they could both be ordinary and get it done, or how do you see it?
If James's Gate was coming in here fresh from his bumper season last year, instead of having that break, I'd be more happy to kind of take Mirrors All West on. But if you were giving me the choice of laying him or backing him, I'd have to back him just from the vibes and everything that's gone with it. I think he's 5-6 at the moment as we're looking, and if the money comes for him and he goes off 8-13 and they smash into him, then they obviously know that he's ready to win. But I'd be worried about James's Gate if he would, like I said, if he didn't have that break, because he's not a mug. He's obviously placed in the bumper at the festival, I think, didn't he, as well? Albeit that was on absolute treacherous ground. So, I mean, that's probably going to help him being on the soft side. I just think King of Kingsfield, I just think he's a bit of a dog, if I'm being honest. Agreed. I just don't think, he just reminds me just of so many of those horses we see that just don't want to win. Mirrors All West, in a lot of his bumpers last year. I think he just seemed to run through the line, and the further he went, the better he was. So I'd definitely be on Mirazar West side here, and I wouldn't be worried.
He's the first race at Leopardstown as well, and he'll be in loads of ACCAs for people. So I guess that's probably maybe the appearance we're saying, right? No one needs our betting advice. Everyone can do what they own want. But rather than getting stuck into a Mirazar West, there are better even money pokes or short price bets in there. Like if you had the choice between a £500 free bet on Mirazar West or Riders on the Storm, you'd be on Riders on the Storm surely with it, right?
100%, because I think Riders on the Storm's got not one horse, but half a horse to beat, whereas Mirazar West could have a horse and a half to beat. But I just think Mirazar West. Yeah,
that's perfect. That's fine. We'll move on, right? This is another bet that I've had. Mighty Bandit. I cannot believe it. Betfair, for some reason, when the final declarations came in, pushed him out to 13-8. I didn't want to really get too involved in him, like, I don't know, like odds on, but I thought he would be an odds on poke. He's 11-8 currently. He looks, of everything that every bumper horse has, Triumph horse has done so far, like all the juveniles, you guys will know that I do like Burdett Road, but he surprised me in what he did at Cheltenham in the fact that I don't think that they rode him intentionally that cold, thinking he was a weapon. I think they did it because they were worried about the ground and they thought, let's not be too harsh on him. Mighty Bandit looks like an absolute machine. And I think in the context of like a Triumph at the moment, because we haven't seen any of Willie's ones, if we take out the fact of who we have seen, bar the hype and everything, there isn't a juvenile, I think, that could beat Mighty Bandit. So he's not even got to take on Burdett Road. I do respect the likes of like a Carla Conti, because I mentioned her before, I think she's half decent. But surely, boys, Jamie, you'll know this better than anyone. Surely Mighty Bandit's a good thing. Anything odds against, isn't he?
Juveniles.
Don't do it.
Juveniles.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Do you know what I mean, juveniles? I wouldn't, like, obviously there's the penalty for Nürburgring, and it's 8-1, and it won the last day. And we got a lot of experience. But that Batman Girac was actually like his huge price. I mean, like the way he travelled, and then he just kind of stopped in the ground. Cossack Jack obviously was second to Wood Hughes after winning a few races. There, one to beat him at Down Royal. Now Cossack Jack, we one I'd have in my head for a Fred Winter for definite at the moment. Calaconti, I suppose, after being beaten by Nürburgring, can't really win, can it? No, I watched the Bandit race this morning because I was going through Twitter board, and he impressed me, but he looked a bit awkward for me there. But there looks to be a huge turn of foot under the bonnet when he goes, like, do you know what I mean? But I'm going to take a chance here on a horse cut that's been well touted for Willie Mullins's Carragisi. First time out in a grade 2, I like that. Like, they could have run him in a 3-year-old hurdle, like, do you know what I mean? And it's getting weight from Mighty Bandit and getting £4. Like, Mighty Bandit were a really good horse to beat this Carragisi and giving it £4, in my opinion. Now, it could be a bet. Like, if I'm up, I'll back it. If I'm not up, I'm not going to back it. If you know what I mean, like, I wouldn't. It's
only the second race. You can't have been doing your spuds that soon.
It's third race, isn't it? It's the third race.
But it's early enough, isn't it? But yeah, so
it's early enough. Yeah, like, you know, you might have a novelty 20 quid on it for a crack at 9-2. Like, do you know what I mean?
At 9-2, you don't really need to be having too much on, do you?
No, and if you like, you know, it's juveniles. You can't really trust juveniles at form at the start of the year, maybe. But I agree with that world there. I think it's a terrible price, 11-8, and I'm going to take a stab at Carragisi.
Nice. Well, like, this is the main reason why I like to talk to people that I respect in terms of judges, because I thought 13-8 was half decent, to be fair. Like, obviously that's different to what the price is now. So even at 11-8, like, I still thought it was an all right price. I touched on the fact that I've bet a few bets. Like I say, I'm not listing this to be on a profit and loss type thing, because I will have more Boxing Day bets. If I do one of those videos, then I'll put them all in there. If not, I'm just telling you for the sake of doing it. But I had a little account round on this one. I think I had £83 or £84 on at 13-20. Let me just check. Yeah, £84 to get 220 back. So anywho, equivalent of like 3 and a bit points in it. Scotty, what did you think of Mighty Bandit? Is he, because now it feels like there's two sides of the fence, which means his price is probably about accurate.
Yeah. I mean, if there's a superstar in here that could turn out to be a Triumph contender, it's probably Mighty Bandit, but I wouldn't be taking anything at 5-4, 11-8, no chance. I think Carla Conti's a terrible second favourite, should be 4th favourite. I think Nürburgring, my horse, should be ahead of Carla Conti in the betting. I think gave £3 away last time, you know, at Fairy House, and Yeah, I don't understand why. Obviously, it's just probably the weights this time, isn't it? I think there's £7-8 in it now, 10, 6, 11, 2, however you work it out. But yeah, no, I think the Bergring's got a lot of experience, and there's definitely got potential if it sharpens up his jumping to improve into a half decent horse. And I'm on at 33s for the Triumph, so I'm hoping that he puts in a good shift again. But yeah, I'd probably say Marty Bandit's the most likely winner for potential, but I'd be not abandoning the Bergring. I'd definitely be backing it each way. But I wouldn't be touching Cargase or Cargisi. I just think it's a bit of an unknown quantity, and 9-2 is probably a fair price. But I think you're guessing if you back that, to be honest. So I wouldn't be going near it.
Fair enough. This is a race, right? The Night Frank. It gets called Frank Night loads of times. I've done it. I remember Racing Blogger did it as well, and I called him out on it, but not like in a bad way. Just said it, and I think a few people took offence. I was just pointing it out. Anywho, roll of honour for this list, right? Apples Jade, Bapome, Espoir Delan, Rocky Blue, not so good. Aspire Tower, Zanahir, Fildor. Last year was won by Lossymouth. So it does look a decent renewal this year. We know we touched on the Royal Bond, maybe not looking so good, but fuck me, that is a decent little juvenile to get into. Right, we'll peel our way down. We've talked about that novice handicap hurdle. Racing Post novices chase. I think it's just taken for a given that he's going to go and win. Patrick Mullins said the other day that I feel like it was the Curragh that he said he schooled Fassa Vega, said he jumped lovely, all that type of stuff. There was obviously lots of talk, wasn't there, on his debut that he was a bit skewed. People were starting to talk about his action, even though it's no different to what he's done before. Like I don't know if people have been critical for the sake of being critical, but there was probably some things to critique, I'd say. Sharjah used to be the boy, didn't he, that would deliver at Christmas every year in that Matheson's. Can't remember how many of them he won. It was like 3 or something, wasn't he? He is obviously back at Christmas now, and his run in that Drinmore, the ground seemed to go against him. For all that I say King of Kingsfield needs the better ground, and maybe he showed that it wasn't that bad. I think the Tiapu Impere pass race and the times really did confirm that it was bad ground. They didn't really try with Sharjah, did they? Jamie, do you think, I know it's mad, right? Because we know how good Fassa Vega potentially could be. And I know there's other horses in there, like Founder 50 looks an all right horse. My mate Mozzie, not so much. I know Sharjah's a 10-year-old, right? But we both thought he had a chance in that Drinmore. Ground definitely went against him. They didn't really try that hard with him, I don't think, either. Looking here, as much as Fassa Vega is an absolute weapon to go and like beat, for all those frailties where he did skew a little bit, maybe his jumping wasn't 100%. This is the first time I've seen the betting on this. This is why I'm saying it. Is Sharjah at 18-1 not worth a cheeky $5 or something?
It's definitely worth a cheeky tenner anyway, Dave. So you hear Wayne guy here says Dave Sharjah is 4-1 without Facile. I think that's a great bet. That's actually probably a better bet.
But I'd maybe be more of the inclination, that the only way he wins is if Facile gets done. So that isn't bad, to be fair. I'd definitely go for the win price. Anyway, so you're speaking, sorry, mate.
Yeah, as I said it last night on Joe's, that I'm going to back him because I just have this nagging doubt, Dave, that what happened last year in the DRF when it was good ground, that Facile Vega needs soft ground, and look at the size of his knee action. And I think he needs, I'd be really worried about. Now, I know Leopardstown are going to make the ground as safe as possible, but the fastest part of Leopardstown is the outside track or the chase track. Yeah. Is he going to that's the only nagging doubt. Look, he should win. Of course, we want Facile Vega to win, to go up against Marine National and round 2 in the Arkle. Obviously, the whole world wants it, because then it'll be not a great Arkle otherwise. But I think, to be honest with you, Founder 50 might make Mozzie. I think Sharjah, on all known form and hurdles form, should be second favourite. I know the last day he wasn't great at the Drinmore, but he was never put into the race, and it wasn't like in the ground. You could see it. The only thing I will say that what he's won 4 Mathesons, 4 or 5 Matheson hurdles. The only thing with Sharjah, when he came to its Matheson hurdles, that it was in the inside track at Leopardstown, the more speedier type track. And then when they pushed him out towards the DRF track in the middle of Leopardstown, he didn't like it. Now he's going further out to the chase track, and that's the only worry I have about him. But he will absolutely love that ground, because this is, as I said to you, it's going to be the quickest day on St. Stephen's Day. The quickest ground is going to be that day. And it's the slight worry that I have about Facile Vega. My mate Mozzie will travel like a very good horse. You know yourself, but won't get up the straight. Found a 50. Is he a 2-miler? I very much doubt it, because he was beaten by Corbett's Cross. It's always in my head. Corbett's Cross beat him on good ground at Naas over 2 miles. And Corbett's Cross is not a first cousin to a 2-miler. So to me, 4-1 or 18-1, whatever you want, I'd be back in charge yet.
Nice. The only thing I will say, because I like to not like steer things in a certain direction, we can't get away from the fact that when Sharjah did go this way round over fences, he jumped markedly right. He didn't show any tendency of it. Obviously, going the other way around in the Drimwall, again, that was half of the reason why I fancied him a bit more there. Would you have any concerns about that? Because obviously, if he starts
I thought exactly what you're saying, Dave. He looked like he jumped well enough in the Drimwall. Yeah, do you know what I mean? And
exactly, because Gaelic was going right-handed when he over his fences, whereas Sharjah went straight going the right way around, didn't he?
When in the hurdles, like even when he ran Leopardstown, he kind of a little bit to the right. Yeah, I know, a little bit, slightly. It's kind of more, I suppose, more obviously because you're jumping bigger obstacles.
But he's an 18-1 point, like you say. He should be 4 or 5-1, right? Surely, and that's the point.
On his early season form, he should be what 5-6-1, yeah.
And it's worth a bet in it. So that the fact they ran him in the Drimwall, the fact they got him beat in the field, I like it. Yeah, so 60s. Let me see if I can find.
But he loves it. He loves the ground. The ground is massive. It's a massive.
All right.
Factor.
We're doing it. I think personally, for all my sins, it's probably a bad thing to do. It's going to be a novelty little bit. I'm going to stick one on now. I'll have 12.50 win on him. I'm just going to bet him to win. Without on Bet365, he is 4-1 without. I'm a tiny bit worried that he might get done. And for the sake of only sticking a small bet on, if I was to bet him at 4-1, I'd be tempted to have twice as much on, if you know what I mean. So I'm going to have a little go on that. I like that one. Scotty, obviously we've set this up nicely. That me and Jamie have very steered in the Sharjah at 16s or 18s is a chance, isn't it? And like Jamie says, we all expect Fasavega to go and win. So maybe that bet without's decent. Are we wrong? Is there something else we should be doing in the race, or should we just be leaving it alone?
No, you're not wrong. I was against you both in the Drimwall, just because I thought the trip wasn't ideal for Sharjah. The ground was probably not ideal. Probably better going right-handed, maybe. But obviously, Leopardstown this time of year on the course is just an absolutely good thing for Sharjah. But I think you'd be crazy not to stick a 5 or a 10 or an 18s. But my mate Mozzie needs better ground. He's got absolutely no chance. He'd be massively outclassed. Found the 50, I think, running over the wrong trip. I think they probably priced it up just on the fact that Sharjah was beaten 30 lengths by Founder 50, but you cannot take that into literal reading into that. He was so eased down, he wasn't tried that day. Fasavega should probably win, shouldn't he? But I think, like I said, my favourite thing is to look for a match bet. Anything Sharjah against my mate Mozzie or Sharjah against Founder 50.
Yeah, fair.
Lock and fucking load. Get it all on. He will come second. He could win.
Yes, let's go. This is the point of doing this. This is why it's good to speak to people and to get those things in there. So, yeah, I think we're all in agreement that the 4-1 without Fasavega, we probably have him 4-1 with Fasa. Well, maybe not 4-1, but like he wouldn't be far off that in our eyes, would we? We'd all give him a much more respect than the bookies have. So, again, like I'm not saying it is because it might not be, but it feels like a potential value loser that you could put it on. He could jump right, he could get beat, but you wouldn't care. It's the right thing to do, right?
He opened at 33-1.
Did he?
He actually opened it. I should have backed to the 33s, but sure, look.
Well, but too late. Again, the beauty of now, innit? Like we treat him as they are at the moment now. If we did this preview and he was already down to 8-1, I think we'd still be tempted to have a little go, wouldn't we?
You've seen it at the DRF last year. How stupid would we be after Fasavega, whatever the excuse was, when Ilete Thomas beat him? It's obviously same stable again. They're not scared to go and beat their own horses, whether it's by luck or by judgment. So I'd rather just throw a tenner down the drain than
back him without.
I wonder too with Danny Mullins, and is he going to attack and just go for it? Do you know what I mean?
Well, they've got no other choice, have they? They're not saving him for Cheltenham. They're not saving him for the spring, are they? It was Christmas every year with him as a hurdler, wasn't it? This will be his peak, wouldn't it? They're not going to want to get Fasavega beat, and that's the point there, isn't it? He could run a massive race, come second, especially from I know, but not even from a prize money perspective, but from a status perspective. Coming second in this isn't a bad thing as a 10-year-old novice chasing, is it? And they know they've got a massive chance. I'm in. Sold. Didn't need to be sold, but you boys have sold it even further. Let's wheel on if we can, just so we can get as much covered as possible. Race post, handicap chase. Anything we should be talking about in here, Jamie?
No interest.
Perfect. Anything from you, Scotty? I'll say no. The bumper, Cantico, Galloping de Champs owner. What's her name? I want to say Andrea Hurley, but I think I've just made that up. Turley, sorry, Audrey Turley. Jesus, I've gone for the Wish version. I just gone for the absolute fake ban of it. That Pren's Guard Etoile for Gordon Elliott, when that ran first time up and was beat by the passing wife, I was a little bit shocked. I was a little bit disappointed. So I don't think that's too much of something to go and beat. But it's Willie Mullins in a bumper is an obvious thing. It's an even money poke. Feels very like semi-Missouri West, right? We would only be betting it for the sake of trusting that it's all good. Or has anyone heard anything about Canterco that we should be getting stuck in?
Nope.
Leave it then. Bollocks to it. Right, let's move about. Boxing Day, I'm just going to take us back to Kempton, right? I say back to Kempton. We haven't even been there yet. I feel like we should just weasel our way through the 6 races that are at Kempton. And if anybody's got a bet that they've had or they want to have, let me know. First race, the Ladbrokes Racing Novices Limited Handicap Chase. A few people have said that Blow Your Wad has got a proper chance. It's not a race that I've gone into yet. I do normally like this type of race as well. It used to be good when we had the Close Brothers Novices Chase, wouldn't it, at Cheltenham? Like it was a nice little pointer towards that as well, but it's not the same now. So this could end up being a target for a few of them. Either of you boys done your homework and got anything you fancy in here?
Not for me, innit?
I'd have a small each way bet on Outlaw Peter. He's won over hurdles at Kempton before. He's won an egg and spoon race first time out, and then I think he got pulled up second time. He'd just be one I'd have my eye on. But yeah, I think Blow Your Wad is definitely the most likely winner. But I definitely have time for Outlaw Peter. I'll be having a look at him.
Nice. Right. Well, again, we do like to talk. We have opinions on stuff if we haven't looked at them. But some of these handicap ones, like Jamie's done there, if we haven't looked at them yet, there's no point going into it. This is a race, right, where Jesus Christ, we can definitely get stuck into this one. I'm more than happy to go last on this one. It's the Couto Star Novices Chase. It's the Feltham in memory of Nigel Clark. It is a proper grade 1 this year. Giovinco, real decent run at Sandown only a couple of weeks ago, as far as I'm concerned. I know it's closer to 3 weeks than 2 weeks, but wasn't that far ago. Like, looks to have like a proper chance. Hermes Allen, that chase debut, we talked about him about being a small horse. He did get away with it. He did all right. But Kempton fences, you've seen it like a top notch and stuff. Maybe smaller horses can't get over. Then you've obviously got Frodon, that's just the outlier that was jumping fine over these. Then you've got the French Raider, LS Francais. As again, we'll get all of this same thing, the same as Thalim, all that type of stuff. There will be people that will be making a case for this horse purely on the back that they're saying it's been wide margin winner in France. I have no problem with making a case from a horse in France. It is possible to go and do your homework. I haven't done my homework on this horse, but I just want to mention the fact that that's the case that people will do, right? And there is a line of form where this horse was beaten 10.5 by Thalim, but was favourite to beat the horse that day. And whatever happens in all of this, right, people will use this horse somehow to say why Thalim will win the Stayers Hurdle. Just get annoyed with it. Also got beat by Irish Point, and he's going to go running the Jack de Bromhead Christmas Hurdle, isn't he? Anywho, there is no way that anything else wins this race. I know in the past we've probably been dismissive of some other horses that win at bigger prices. It is a 3-horse race. The bookmakers can barely split the 3 of them. I couldn't be confident enough on any of them to want to have a bet. But I guess the question we're really asking is not who's going to be the best horse in the future. They're all about the same age. They're all about the same positions in their career. I know some have had more races than others, but they should all be good enough to win this race. So, Jamie, I know what the answer is going to be, but who is the best of the 3 of these? What order would you rank Giovinco, Hermes Allen, and Ile Francais in here? And is there a bet for you?
The bet is Giovinco at 5-2. Yeah, he should be favourite. He should be 7-4, and Hermes Allen should be 2-1, and Ile Francais should be 5-1. I can't have Ile Francais. Look, I know. Yeah, he was favourite 10 lengths behind Thalim in that race at France, and they're all in that race. But it's bog heavy ground. This horse has never seen good ground in its life, so I'd be extremely worried. Now, they said he'll go on it, but I'd be seriously worried. Hermes Allen, is he a 3-miler? Will he get away with being a 3-miler at Kempton? No, not for me. Look, I know last day in the race, Nickelback, if we got I'm not going to crib the jockey, but if he got a better ride, I think he'd have got Hermes Allen in a lot more trouble than Hermes Allen should have been in. And he stayed on, obviously. I suppose his best work was late, Hermes Allen, at Newbury. There's the other side of it, and that would probably suit him at Kempton. But it's because that Stay Away Fay at the moment is the best 3-mile staying chaser, novice chaser in the UK. The form is there, and Giovinco travelled all over him. Now, the only thing is with Giovinco is there a finishing kick at the end, and that's the only worry I have. But he's obviously going to be better on better ground. He travels it now. not to crib jockeys, I'd rather Derek Fox on this horse, to be honest with you. That's just my opinion. I'm not cribbing Stephen Mulqueen. Don't know much about him, to be honest with you. But what I think here that Giovinco will love is the faster they go, the better he'll be.
Yeah.
It'll make him settle better. And if they do that, I can't see anything beating him. And that's been honest with you. I think he's a great bet at 5-2. The only other thing we said last night, that if you eyeball him, will he find something like Stay Away Faye? But Stay Away Faye does that to horses, and the ground was heavy at Sandown. So I think if you put this now, even if Stay Away Faye was in the Feltham on Stephen's Day on the 26th, I would still be back in Giovinco even to beat Stay Away Faye.
Nice. And a good thing to remember with this race, right? It is a very, very good race. Historically, the winners of this race tend to not be the one that goes and wins at Cheltenham. And they're very different tracks. The same as like Sylvain Canconti would go and win King George's, but wasn't necessarily the Gold Cup horse. The same could be true of the King George this year. But this is a very prestigious novices chase. You have to just look at it from that perspective. I know we always do it, but you've got to get the other tracks and the other things out of it. Kempton is very much Kempton. It's a specialist track in it. Scotty, with the three of them, I think Jamie's rank of the three of them there was Giovinco should be first, Hermes Allen second, LA Francais third. What would you rank the three of them? And also, I just want to ask you, thoughts on the fact that Nappers Hill was supposed to be their Feltham horse, and all of a sudden they've decided to bring Hermes here, not because Hermes is working the house down, but because Nappers has had some sort of setback. Would that temper your enthusiasm? Would it change your view of anything, or how would you rank them regardless?
I'd rank them same as Jamie, Giovinco, Hermes, and then Ile Francais. I don't think at Ile Francais you can have him based on just that French form. It's an absolute guesswork. And if you're taking 6-4, you just need shooting, personally, I think. But no, Nappers Hill was obviously going to be their horse for this race, and I think it would have suited. What are you laughing at? Would have suited them. But yeah, Hermes Allen probably would have gone the Scilly Isles, probably maybe gone somewhere before that. I think this is a bit of an afterthought. Stay Away Faye was never going to run here, was he? I don't think Kempton would have suited him personally. So I think it's literally typical Paul Nicholls wants to have a runner in his own race pretty much. So, but yeah, Hermes Allen definitely has a chance. But like Jamie said, Giovinco the last day just got outstayed by Stay Away Faye. There's nothing in the race that if he jumps 2 out or come into that last fence that will outstay him. He's all speed. And I think he'll sprint to the line and nothing will outstay him. I think, like you said, looking through the other runners, probably clutching at straws. Marble Sands, step up and trip. He's obviously got a few lengths to find at Newbury. He's not going to go close. Don't look at me like that. But no, it's for me, I'm just totally ignoring the French horse. I couldn't give a shit if he wins. What would annoy me more? Probably annoy me if I didn't back my old favourite Hermes Allen. But I think he just would disappoint. There's just something in the back of my mind to say he's not quite a brave man's gamer or even a stage star. I'd be on Giovinco, and I think he's the safe option, and I'd be sticking with him.
Nice. Well, I like for what it's worth on my take of this, right? It is very much a race where, like, afterwards you could look like an absolute genius if you pick the right one, but it's punty as fuck for anyone to be really, really confident saying that one of these three would definitely win. Fitness Ile Francais is interesting because I think it will make the run and it will go out in front. It'll be a catch me if it can type performance. I think that puts a bit of pressure on itself, though, because Hermes will quite happily get a toe in here. I think Giovinco would potentially be happy to have a toe in here. And as much as it would suit Ile Francais, if he doesn't go and make the pace, I think that inconveniences him more than anything else. And I just don't believe the other horses can go fast enough for it. So tactically, it could be semi-interesting. It's probably one of those races, especially when being novices. If they ran against each other a couple of times, we may get different results. I obviously have a real big soft spot for Hermes Allen, right? I'm really negative about the fact that Nicholls said he was going to potentially run him at the December meeting at Cheltenham. He was entered and he didn't declare him. Then he said if he doesn't go there, he'd go to the Noel Novices Chase at Ascot, 2.5 miles. He decided to swerve that. Now, I know this is a grade 1, and I know he's probably thinking that, but it's not like he was saying, right, bollocks, this horse is working the house down. That's why we're going for the grade 1. He's picked the hardest of the 3 options, which is it's not for the right reasons as far as I'm concerned. If you then spin that on its head and Hermes Allen does somehow manage to win this race, all of a sudden, as much as I like the horse, he has to go up in other people's estimations with it. My biggest worry with it is, like I say, this is very different of a test to Cheltenham. And I worry that they're running him in this, all with a view to run him at Aintree in the spring and to skip Cheltenham because they know that they can't get, or they think they can't get near a Gaelic Warrior. There's other horses in there that they're just worried about. They're just thinking, rather than get beat up by Willie Mullins again at Cheltenham, let's do this. And I think they're trying him here to get a bit of a gauge of, does he stay? Like, which race will we go at in Aintree in April? So again, like, I'm reading into it far more than I potentially should read into it. I rate Hermes Allen. For him going first time at this trip when he's unproven if he definitely stays, I agree with the boys that he is a terrible price. I worry about Giovinco being top class, but I think he might get away with it. I don't know enough about the French horse. When I look at the figures and stuff on it, he's got every right to be in and around where he is in the betting. But I like, you'd expect, or you'd want a French horse to be quite clear, and then you get this sort of price. Like, you'd want to do the numbers and say he's half a stone clear when you get in the price, because it doesn't always work out like it's like the Irish when they come over, isn't it? They're already £7 better off. I think some of the French are probably £7 worse when they come over. So it looks like a good enough race. I think the market will move about quite a bit. Like I said, I couldn't be bullish and have enough of opinion, because anyone that thinks that Hermes Allen will definitely want this 3 miles is, well, they're not wrong, but they're guessing more than anything. So it's a good race, and it's painful because these are the types of races where you want to have something to get stuck in, didn't you? But I'm not the side of you guys with Giovinco at 5-2, but I can imagine he'll be popular. If Hermes was to drift out, it would worry me, but I would think he would move out to the price that he should be. If Hermes ever got to like a 4-1 poke, I would take a swing on him. But I wouldn't take a swing on him because I think he stays the 3 miles. I'd take a swim on him because I'm a big fanboy of Hermes Allen. Let's leave it there, right? He did win Challow Hurdle, didn't he? He won at Newbury, won that time of year. Like, time of year, maybe the time to get Hermes. Anywho, Christmas Hurdle. Obviously, don't need to talk about this. Constitution Hill just wins. Has anyone seen any specials for distances? Because I think Constitution Hill wins by... I've got to take this hat off as well. I'm getting too hot. I think Constitution Hill wins by like 20 or 30 lengths. Nothing can get close to him. Scotty, I know you like Rabot, but he can't. He doesn't want to get near him, does he? He doesn't want to get anywhere within a sniff of Constitution's arse, because his mark will go through the roof. 149 is a number that Rabot could go and do some damage of, surely.
I disagree. I think Rubot's a graded animal. I think he could end up in something at Punchestown in the spring. I think he could go there. He's obviously not going to win. I'm not going to waste my time going into that. But if you're looking for distance betting, then you need to think of a new hobby. I just don't believe in them whatsoever. I hate them. Why would you do that? It just doesn't make sense. Just watch the race and just whatever. It's just, yeah. That's all I'm going to say.
It depends where they put it, because what's his face? Nico de Boinville did it tongue-in-cheek, didn't he? I think it was last year in this race, said to people about the distance bet. I think it was over 10.5 lengths. And his post-race thing, he said, I'm sorry to distance betters or something like that. He did it on one of the other ones.
I'd rather stick 3 places on Betfair, have £5 on Sco Royale at 20s to finish in the top 3. That's how bad the race is from a betting angle.
Mad. Well, like I said, I don't really do the distance betting stuff. I was more curious of what sort of number we'd put on there. I think Constitution Hill wins by 20. Scotty, you say he's going to win. What's the distance? I know it doesn't really matter, but if you had to put it in there.
I think the Constitution Hill, as brilliant as he is, I think Rubot will make the running. I think he'll be hard to get past. 2 out Constitution Hill will take it up. He'll probably win by 12. I'll go 12.
Okay, happy days. Jamie, what do you think he'll win by?
I don't really care about distance betting. Move on. Why are we even talking about the race? He wins the race by a country mile. Good luck, man. Move on. King George.
6-4 over 7 lengths.
Who cares? He's
it's tempting.
He's just going to win everything. Come on. There's more betting mediums than that race. It's a piece of shit.
I don't know. I feel like you're both being too blasé. You're both being way too blasé about a horse that is £26 beyond a horse, and you can get 6-4 for it to win by over 7. It's madness that you're really like flicking over it so much, but we'd bet something in a maiden hurdle or a bumper with no form. Madness. Anyway, I'm putting it down there for the people. Obviously, everyone can do what they want to do, but I think the 6-4 over 7 is actually fairly reasonable. I didn't know what the price was. I hadn't looked at it. Anywho, King George. Jamie, I'm going to start off with you because there was a replay of the 2015 King George shared up by Kevin Blake. I mean, it's one for the ages. We'll all remember the Valtor, the Q card, and the Shishkin. Someone commented and said, Allaho's Valtor, Brave Man's Game is Q card, and Shishkin is Don Cossack. Shishkin, I know obviously there's like people will say it's not an ideal prep.
Shishkin's Don Cossack.
You know, because he fell, didn't he?
Does Shishkin fall in races?
No, but I think he was just saying that in the terms of the race, when they're travelling to there, it would be like Allaho will be in front, and Shishkin will be coming, wouldn't he?
if Don Cossack stood up, he'd have won the race.
Correct, but that's what I mean. So that's what people were saying, and when they said it, I was like, 100%, I could see.
I'm only saying that because I backed Don Cossack the minute.
Yeah. But with this, like we all know, like I like Allaho as a horse, don't I? Do you think Brave Man's game at Kempton, the run last year, I thought Cobden gave him a questionable ride, but got the job done, knows far more than I do. I'm coming round to Shishkin at the prices, mate. You're already on, right? You still keeping the faith?
Not after Ascot, no. I'm happy with my bet. Yeah, I backed him a few times. I backed him when he went up to 7-1 even. I just couldn't resist. I'm going like on ground now, Dave, to be honest with you, and the way the ground is. Like, hopefully, for looking at the start of the race, there's huge front runners in this race, and which worries me big time for Allaho, because he's used to dominating races. Now he can sit in right if he wants. There's no problem there. The Whacker, Hewick, and Frodon are all front runners. They will all want to be in front, and that might not suit Allaho. Now, Ryanair. 2 Ryanair's, 1 Punchestown Gold Cup, Albert Bartlett 3rd or 4th that time, would beat this crowd in an absolute hack canter if he was the Allaho from a couple of seasons ago. It's just the one run in 18 months is putting me off. The better ground as well is putting me off slightly. No, he's probably better on better ground anyway, it doesn't matter, because he's won 2 Ryanair's on good ground at Cheltenham. But I'm worried, and I wouldn't be touching him at 13-8. No, I just wouldn't. If he said 5-2, maybe, yeah, I would back him. I just a little bit worried now. On his day, he's miles better than all these. He is, but it's just this nagging doubt. Shishkin for me is a Betfair exchange in running play all day, because if you look back at his race in Ascot when he destroyed Pictori, first 4, 5, 6 fences, he was jumping them well, and then if he fancies it today. My problem with Shishkin now is that he's going to be able to keep up. And if he can't keep up, he's going to clout fences, and that's the problem. Chick pieces are off now, which they never should have put on the horse in the first place. I don't know what they were thinking there. But that's my worry about Shishkin, because of the so-called pace in the race, which there should be. I'm very worried about him. Now, he's unbeaten at Kempton. But as I said to you before, that if he's there at the third last within a couple of lengths, there won't be any horse better than him coming home. He's got that kick at the end. But the safest option, Dave, and I can't believe I'm absolutely saying this, the safest option is Brave Man's Game. Because he's going to love the race. He's going to travel like the best horse in the race. And he will love it. He was an impressive winner last year. I know it was 14, so it would be like, 4-5 to long press. He had the better of him at the last. The better the ground, the better his chance. The pace in the race is there for him to stay on at the end. I know he's a one-trick pony, just an out-and-out galloper, but this is his race, isn't it, really? It should be from last year, and I can't believe I'm saying that. He's the safest option, I think, and I think he'll win.
Yeah, mate. I think, to be fair, I feel like you've just nailed the whole perspective of the race, to be honest with you. But it's that there's question marks about Allaho with his well-being. And again, I'm a big fan of him. That run back, I didn't. Again, I get romantic with all the horse stuff, but like he impressed me. Did like we did, but he did what I expected him to do. He didn't do any more. And there was I don't know. There's a part of me that again could be fully wrong. I know he's working the house down. Paul Townend's missing all those lovely rides in Leopardstown for this. But there is a part of me that I don't know. He won well enough, but like I say, won as expected. I feel like I missed a little bit of spark of Allaho. It was just a little bit bad. I know it was really bad ground. You wouldn't be able to see the speed and stuff. So tempers that enthusiasm, doesn't it? But again, this is the whole point of betting. With the way the prices are, if it was the other way around, Brave Man's Game's 13-8 and Allaho's 9-4, you'd be backing Allaho. But the fact that the price is the other way around, it makes you want to go towards Brave Man's Game. But
it does.
The reality,
it does.
Yeah.
It does.
And the beauty of the anti-post betting as well, like you've done, like you had an opinion on it, Shishkin, at the early part of the season, you've got your money on. So at least you're in the nice position of, well, I wouldn't bet him now, but I'm glad I've got my bet on, because if I didn't bet him and you let him run for free, then you'd be annoyed, wouldn't you? I think you've nailed it, to be fair. It's a race where I think before we look at the race, we could say if this was run 5 or 6 times, you might get a few different results. I think, not unfortunately, but I think after the race, we'll see that if you ran the race multiple times, whichever horse wins it on Boxing Day would have won it every single time, I think.
It'll depend. The thing is, if Frodon, Hewick and the real Whacker was in and someone else, 3 more horses were in, and there was no out-and-out front runner, and Allaho was left dominate, oh God, yeah, I'd back him all day. It's just that nagging doubt.
Can they go? Can they? I know they can.
Can they get? Can they get him out of his comfort zone? But But can they go with that? See, Allaho, can they go with him? They won't go over him in a Ryanair the way he won the Ryanair that day under Richard Blackmore.
Frodon is that bit older. I mean, I don't think Frodon won't be able to go with Allaho. I don't think.
Yeah,
Hewick
but
and the real Wacker probably could for a bit.
Doesn't. I know he won a Punchestown Cold Cup, but he was ridden that with to get the trip. If you know what I mean. So that's the worry I have. Like Kempton is going 3 miles. 3 miles at Kempton obviously is going to suit him, right? 3 miles at Cheltenham in the RSA when he was beaten by Champ didn't. So it's tracks as well. Like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it's just the pace in the race is just worrying me. It's just that
Agreed.
nagging.
Agreed. And that's the problem of it, innit? You don't want to be betting a horse at a short price when you've got multiple negatives to mention, which obviously in hindsight after the race, like I say, he could bolt up and we could all sit here and say, how do we not smash him? We have to remember the reason we're not smashing him is because there are those negatives. Scotty, I feel like Jamie's pretty much nailed the analysis there. Have you got anything you'd like to add or you got a different opinion?
There's just a couple of things. I think like the real Wacker, if he was going to come back and run a race, he'd have to be pretty much long run-esque, who flopped in that Paddy Power and went on to win the King George next time, and he's definitely not in that bracket. So it's just again how the race goes from a pace perspective. Is Allaho a year too late for this race? I don't know. I'm just thinking age is probably not on his side. Mate, I don't know. I honestly think if Shishkin jumped off at Ascot, and it's hindsight, but the way I've looked at this race, if Shishkin would have gone off and beaten Pictory like he did in February at Ascot, he'd be 7-4 to win this race. He's got nothing to prove apart from if he jumps off, he's definitely got a chance. Kempton is his track. I'd be happy to take 9-2 as 3 points less than I would have got almost if he would have won last time out. If he jumps off and he gets into a good rhythm, 9-2 is going to be absolutely massive if he's within a couple of lengths jumping even 2 out, the last fence. There's not a horse I'd rather be on. Out of Allaho, Brave Man's Game and Shishkin, jumping that last fence, 3 in a line, he will win. And so that's the angle I'm taking. I'll be having a little go on Shishkin. And in the betting without market, I'll back Hewick because I think he's definitely got the ability. Ran a stinker in Galway, but I'm not bothered about that. I think Hewick's definitely going to be up there with the pace. He'll be better than Frodon. I think he'll beat the real Wacker, which only probably leaves... He's still got Allaho and Brave Man's Game to beat, but I don't like Brave Man's Game's prep. So I will just be going against Allaho because he's way too short, and I will be just chancing Shishkin jumps off, and 9-2 could be huge.
Yeah, fair. And that's the way that I felt about it as well at the start. Because obviously, like you said, Jamie's already in, which is fair enough. You wouldn't want to be topping up, I suppose. But like when I try and look at it, Allaho's short enough now. Even when Willie Munnings first said it, Ladbrokes and Coral left him at 6s. You could have got 3-1 while Joey Colon was still in the betting. Like the time to, if you were going to get on Allaho, the time was to get on was before now. Brave Man's Game has been a bigger price at the beginning of the season. He's probably another one that people would have backed anti-post, probably bigger than this, even though he hasn't had an ideal prep, won't be burning their tickets, but probably wouldn't be looking to top up. Whereas Shishkin's the one where I feel like if you were to bet him anti-post, you were a bit brave, which is what Jamie did. But then we like you say, Scotty, we didn't get to see what he was because he refused. But that doesn't mean because he refused to race that he's all of a sudden a stone worse horse. Like he didn't do anything to damage his credentials other than the fact that he refused to race. Yes, I know if he doesn't start, that would be a massive problem, but cannot see that possibly happening again. And as we're looking at it today, I am siding with the fact that £20 on my head, gun to my head and £20 being offered to me, I'd have to bet Shishkin. It's a price-related thing, but is what it is. It's a fucking great renewal. This is the time, right? I won't put it up on the screen just because I can't be bothered to. We need to talk about the Savills Chase, gentlemen, because we're going to have Galopin de Champ, Fast or Slow, Jerry Colomb, the first 3 in the betting for the Gold Cup. I'll leave it to you boys to start talking about that and I will put it up on it just so we can get the betting up. But for me, fuck me, Galopin de Champ 7-4 with a couple of people, right? If I can get 7-4 a little bit bigger, I'm gonna get royally stuck into Galopin de Champ because yes, Fast or Slow's done him the last couple of times, but his jump in that John Durkan was woeful. And I said to Jamie as well, I bet him after he jumped the first couple because he went out to 9-4 thinking I could lay him in running. He is now going to be about 9-4 pre-race. And I know he might not jump very well. He pops over the first couple of fences. He's odds on for that Savills Chase. I do not see Galopin de Champ get beat. And if he doesn't jump very well and he goes and gets beat, well, I'd rather do my bollocks at Christmas in the Savills Chase than do my bollocks at Cheltenham. I'd rather he did it now, if you know what I mean. Jerry Colomb, the fact that they've been switching and changing out where he's going to run, they would depend on the type of work. They would depend on the ground. it's so badly loose that they're running him in this Savills chase. It's very clear that they're prepping him for March and they don't really care what he does at Christmas other than get experience. And I just don't think Fast or Slow is anywhere in the league of Galloping the Champ, yet the fact that he has done him twice. So I'll pull the betting up. I feel like Jamie's going to be on my team. Jamie, I'm going to come to you first. I think you're on my team. Galloping the Champ, if we can get 7-4, 2-1 about him, surely he's a good bet, isn't he?
Yeah, 100%, Dave. Yeah, 100%.
Yes, that's what we want, Jamie. Come on.
I think his most impressive runs ever were at Leopardstown when he won the 2.5 mile novice at the Dublin Racing Festival. And he couldn't, Paul Townend went past the back winning post, and there's 2 fences down the side there at Leopardstown, and he went past the second fence, like trying to pull him up. And then he was ultra impressive last year in the Irish Gold Cup with the DRF. Really ran up the straight. Now, I think with Jerry Calam is that the only reason they're running at Leopardstown because it's absolutely supposed to pour with rain on the Wednesday, and the race is on the Thursday. So that's why I think they're going there. I wouldn't take any notice of the switching, or that I'm not into that. It doesn't bother me in the slightest.
But they do need to get a competitive running him rather than go to say more.
They want to see where they're at, and I don't think they care if they win or lose or draw. It doesn't make a difference. Obviously, Fast or Slow is the horse that beat Galloping the Champ. Only beaten 2 lengths. Galloping the Champ didn't jump the first 4 or 5 fences when he jumped him like a show jumper or something like that. But I wouldn't worry about it. Now, he isn't the greatest jumper of all time, Galloping the Champ. Look, but Album and Photo wasn't either, and he won 2 Gold Cups. So, he reminds me actually of Album Photo. He there's that mistake in him, all right, there's definitely is, but he seems to get himself out into trouble on multiple occasions. But to me, he's still the Gold Cup winner, and I will be backing him at 7-4, because I think he'll prove again that he's still the best staying chaser in Britain and Ireland.
Yeah, I think so. And again, with the context of the Gold Cup and the context of what he did, all of that sort of stuff, if he was like, he could have ended up being 7-4 for a Gold Cup with all the British horses in there. Not that there's much of a British challenge that could be against there, but this is as good as a potential Gold Cup on paper. However, I don't think Jerry Colon will be treating this as his Gold Cup. I don't even know if Fast or Slow will be treating this as his seasonal big thing. I do feel like Willie Mullins, especially some of them needing a bit of a run, I do think that Galloping de Champ's almost not got a bit to prove, but they're not going to leave him short for this, are they, Scotty? Surely 7-4, that's quite good, isn't it? Or not?
It is for some people, but not for me. I'm not going to be backing him. I could be wrong. He could go and hose up and we'll say, he's back into 6-4 for the Gold Cup. It could happen. I just don't know. But Fast or Slow, everybody keeps on writing this horse off. He should have won 2 races at the festival. He should be going into this as probably joint favourite for the Gold Cup next year after beating Galloping twice. I wouldn't be scared of backing Fast or Slow, but I'd probably go actually will, I think it's just the thing is Galloping how impressive he was at the DRF. You can't escape that. He was just so hard to even pull up after the line. It was just mega impressive. Jerry Colom, I don't know what it is with Jerry. I love him. I've really always had a lot of time for him, but I don't think there's much more improvement to come from him. I just think what you see with Jerry is what you get, and I wouldn't be interested in backing him at all in this race. I think it's an afterthought, like you said. They're going to go to Savills, they're going to go King George, they're back here. I'm going to shove one in here at a massive price, and I'd advise anybody to back it each way because I think he's definitely got potential to still improve, and he could be a player in the Gold Cup. He was really impressive last time at Thurles. He beat Manella Kakuna last season on his debut, and that's classic getaway. I think this horse is 20s, 25s. I honestly think he could run a big race in this. And I think, like I said the other day, Juvenile Park had Allaho and Applutard in the same race a couple of years ago. Applutard won, and Allaho was quite fancied. They're not scared to take their own horses on with one another. I definitely think he's got a squeak classic getaway. And we've seen shocks in this race before. Everybody thought Applutard was bomb-proof and got done by who was it that beat him? Galvin, wasn't it? That beat him in the race a few seasons ago. I think it could be set up.
Who was the one that had the heart attack, came back? Joseph O'Brien, wasn't it?
Edwolf for Joseph, yeah.
Edwolf, yeah.
Yeah, but no, if Galloping wins, fair play. I love Galloping Des Champs, and it would give me just that bit of reassurance to go in and smash him for the Gold Cup. If he came back to himself, I'd take a shorter price for the Gold Cup after he wins, then I'd take for it now. But yeah, Classic Getaway, I'd have a small play on.
Yeah, that's fair enough. And like, obviously, it isn't all about Cheltenham. There are big races in between. Like you say, though, it is important to remember there have been plenty of good things in this that have been beaten, and it doesn't damage their credentials for further down the line. I'm buzzing about it. I do think he's just a little bit too juicy. While we've been doing that, I've quickly gone onto the exchange. I looked at it before, right? When they list the anti-post stuff, they don't do it in time order, right? So I didn't even think they had it on there. I just scrolled a little bit further down. They have. I've just managed to pinch a little bit 2-1. So if anyone in the comments doesn't fancy Galloping Des Champs and fancies laying the rest of my money set on the exchange at 2-1, please go and do it. Because I like, who knows? Bookies will be out to get him. We'll probably still get similar on the day. So probably it's a bad bet. But I'm getting excited because I'm speaking to you boys. It's good old racing, isn't it? Right, I'm going to peel us back to Kempton because I'm doing this in such a great order, just so we can finish off the races there. And then we can cover off whatever there else is for either Boxing Day at other meetings, although I feel like we've probably done enough because we've covered what races there are, haven't we? And then we could talk about some of the other bigger races if we've got some opinions. I've already touched on Daddy Longlegs that's going to run. There's a few other races like your Floor Importers and stuff that look quite good. There's a maiden hurdle after the King George. I'm glad it's moved forward, right? I remember watching the King George, that 2015 one, while I was sat in the Dons Stadium. Like, it was 3 o'clock. I had to watch it on my phone. It's terrible. Anyway, I don't think any of us care about the maiden hurdle, do we? The British hurdlers are going to be pants, right? Silence is golden. In the handicap hurdle, the last race, right? The only reason I want to mention this is because I have had a bet. I'm like, I don't think the price is real juicy, but I did want to bet this horse anyway. The horse I wanted to bet is Email Andy, right? I think he's got an opening mark of 127. Well, I think I can see it on there. He won his first start over hurdles. He beat a next time winner over like nearly 10 lengths, 9.5 lengths. I think he won. Bryony was on that day, so not to be rude, but they obviously did more than they maybe expected, right? They then stepped up in class next time at Newbury. I think a few of you probably would have watched it, whether you paid attention or not. But I feel like most people that watched it on the day felt like he probably would have won. He jumped the last, made a little bit of a mistake, stumbled after, rallied a little bit. But I think he's a bit better than 127 off the back of that. And I think that, I know in these handicaps, right, it's Christmas, people want to get Boxing Day winners. There could be some sort of dirty plot in here. I just think this horse is probably about a 130, I don't know, like mid 130 something. I feel like he's got a few pounds up his sleeve. I reckon this Email Andy's got a good chance. But at the end of the day, I'm tipping up a favourite. So if it had been a bit bigger, I'd been more excited. He might drift out a little bit, but I have bet Email Andy. Either of you boys had a look at it or got an opinion on Email Andy?
Nope.
Fair enough. Let's move on. Right, Jamie, I'm going to come to you because you are my favourite. No offence, Scotty. For the Christmas races, mate, there's some. It's not even past the watershed, but it's fucking Christmas. There's some fucking good races at Christmas this year, right? Obviously, Classical Dream was entered to come up over here, wasn't he? We thought, hopefully, that Gaelic Warrior might win a King George next year, and I was dreaming that he might come in a Feltham. But those lads are potentially being engaged over in Ireland. I loosely touched on that Floor Importer race. Can we have a quick look at that and you let me know your thoughts on the race? And then any of the other grade ones that we want to have a look at, you let me know. I mean, I've asked the question, but we're doing it anyway, right? Is there anything else from this side of the sea? Like we've got the Desert Orchid Chase or the Wayward Lad. Is there any of them we want to look at? Obviously, the Desert Orchid's now changed to a handicap. Is there anything in Britain we need to cover before we clear off or not, gents?
Just say in the Desert Orchid, I think Boot Hill is a good thing. And yeah, definitely.
Jamie likes Boot Hill. I've also been told by somebody else who shall remain nameless that Frere Dams is a good thing in this race. Even money the pair if I back both of them. Have you got an opinion in the race, Jamie? Jamie, you got on mute, I think, mate. Sorry.
Go back to Limerick there on the 26th day. There's a few interesting horses running at Limerick on Stephen's Day. There's
we'll peel back to that. This Desert Orchid, Scotty said Boot Hill. I've been told by someone else Frere Dams. You got an opinion in it?
I like Frere Dams, yeah. I'm not backing that horse that we have shares in there. They've Master 2. I'm not backing him anymore.
Yeah, fuck him. He's in the Desert Orchid. He's in the Wayward Lad as well, I think, isn't he? Surely.
There's two,
Limerick.
the one at Down Royal as well. There's a few there as well, but like they're all at that Mossy Fen Park is running that maiden hurl. I think I saw it last night, but he's short. Yeah, there's the Hunter's Chase. Yeah, Ferns Loch. He's short. Do you know there's a lot of shorties.
The Bosses Oscars opened up at 20s.
20-1. Yeah. But they're all short at Down Royal. Do you know what I mean?
Vaucelet's in there. That's like a pretty decent little Hunter's Chase, isn't it?
It is. Yeah, it always is.
Should we do Limereick?
Yeah, Limereick. There's Bunting. I think he's going to be short. Bunting. There's the 3 Mile Novice that Fahim won there a couple of seasons back. There, yeah.
Yeah, the Jaguar.
2, the Jaguar.
So Stellar Story's in there.
Stellar Story, yeah. I like Loughlin, but he looked very awkward in his debut with Punchestown. I think if he got a soft lead here, I think he might have. But it's actually, I thought it was going to be a good race. I thought Croke Park was going to go here. And I'm a bit disappointed, so he's going to the Lauders. I think he's absolutely no chance in the Lauders, to be honest with you. I think he's a slow boat. But like, if they finish second or third in the Lauders, it's obviously on to the yard with Bartlett. But people seem to forget or the pipe, yeah. and then they're done slowly. I'm waiting for this horse, Dave, that with Hammer Croke Park at Kilbeggan in the summer, and it's You Ought to Know, and he won his bumper off a penalty in Galway, and he beat a horse called Toto 2, who was favoured for that race, that look away one at Cheltenham. And I think I shouldn't open my mouth now. I think Toto 2 has a right chance in the handicap at Cheltenham, to be honest, because they've put him away for it, and Fahy's a great trainer at doing that. But no, there's nothing else. Sorry, I thought there was more at Limerick. Sorry, my apologies.
No,
but, yeah,
it's all good. We got there's a few bits and pieces out there, isn't there? But like not to be rude, but sadly, there's a lot of horses like in these bumpers that could be half decent, but we just don't know enough about.
They're usually like, you know, like they say they're look Magic McColligan there. That's usually second, third, fourth strings of Willie Mullins to send them down to win soft races.
Yep. Sorry, it's good to get excited, right? But we also have to temper that enthusiasm. When you've talked about handicap horses, what I do want to mention is Josh. Well, I say think. I'm pretty sure Josh put him up, didn't he? Where's the Potemps qualifier? Is that Limereick?
Oh, Absolute Notions.
Yeah.
And
I'll say this right. This is it's not. I thought it was Leopardstown. It is Leopardstown, isn't it?
It's Leopardstown on the 28th.
28th, is it?
Yeah.
Is it the 20th? Anyway, it's running somewhere.
Go down.
Oh, yeah, the Potemps qualifier.
Yeah, there it is.
So again, I'll say this right, and I am completely guessing. I haven't been told this, and I mean, it's not slander because it's a good thing. Josh is very good when he mentions a Gordon Elliott horse for a handicap. And what all I mean by that is, like, I think he's a very good judge anyway, but I wonder whether he gets a little bit of help with Gordon Elliott horse going handicaps. Anyway, Absolute Notions.
The only thing I will say,
I think, for the Potemps.
Yeah, like he's 1-4-2 their official rating. Like he wouldn't want to be winning that race to win at Cheltenham, because he's obviously going to get 3, 4, 5 pounds from the English handicapper. Like 1-4-7 in a per times final. I don't know about that. Like, but yeah, he's definitely the most interesting one. I think it's a poor qualifier anyway. I looked at it today. I think
he's 16s-ish, isn't he? But I do think it's an interesting shout, though, to be fair.
It's an interesting shout, yeah. It's a very interesting shout, but like there's back form there, obviously. But I wouldn't be backing him to win it. I never back in these. Now, I know Maxim won the race last year, and I had a big bet in it, right? But that's because he needed to win to get into the race. Do you know what I mean? Where Absolute Notions doesn't need to win. All he needs to get into the first 4. And you're clutching at straws, then backing him. Then, like, I wouldn't touch him, but hopefully, then he'd get in the first 4.
Would you not be worried about his mark already, though? He's 1-4-2.
4-2, like that's what I'm worried about. Like, that's
if he drops £6 for coming 3rd or 4th, he's still going to get 3 or 4 pounds and back up to 140. He's going to be screwed. So he'd need another couple of runs, wouldn't he?
But even if he's in the first 4, Scotty, they're not going to drop.
He's probably a 150s horse, though, isn't he?
I think he's a low 150s horse. I think he's better than that. Yeah, I think.
Yeah.
But it depends, and it's a risky game to play, right? But anyhow, I wanted to mention it because I am stealing Josh the fact that he said it, but it's definitely worth noticing because think he's got squeak right. I'm just fanning about with that screen because it keeps going on and off. Anyway, where else are we going to look? We were going to look at some of the big boys, weren't we? Where's the best one to start? Like, we don't need to talk about Gaelic Warrior, do we? Because he's just going to win at Christmas. The
future champions at Leopardstown on 27th.
Yes, we need to look at that because we've got different opinions on that, haven't we? Obviously, Firefox hasn't been declared for that. I felt like, and I think it is right, I felt like Daddy Longlegs was the bet when he was 6-1 because everyone was putting up for a Supreme. I don't think he's Supreme standard, but is what it is. I guess that he would come here just for the fact of like Mirazor West wouldn't come here. Ballyburn's still a maiden. Had Ballyburn have beaten Firefox, I would have thought that Ballyburn would come here. But regardless of that, I felt like he was a bet. Down memory lane does look a weapon, doesn't it? I personally, again, I don't want to be like rude to the other horses. Predator's Gold looked okay first time up, but I do think that Daddy Longlegs or Down memory lane, like it's a bit of a match between them two. Caldwell Potter and Predator's Gold, I think, are nice horses, but I don't see him as Grade 1 winners. Scotty, this a race you've looked at? Because like I said, I think I know that Jamie liked Down memory lane anyway. What was your opinion on the race before?
I like both horses, yeah. I like Down memory lane more than I like Daddy Longlegs. I just think Down memory lane's a bit of a tank. He was prone to the odd mistake last time. I think going up in trip will probably suit him in the long run. I just think that they're chucking Daddy Longlegs in here just as a sighter to see. Maybe they know how well Mirazar West has been working at home compared to some of the other horses, and they're just trying to get a good yardstick against Down memory lane. Personally, I know it's JP and JP, but Daddy Longlegs jumped better out of the two for me in both their hurdles debuts. He's a strong traveller. If you really were pushing me, I'd probably back Daddy Longlegs. But I think it's a race where there's winners coming out of it for the future down the rest of the season. Predator's Gold, I think, going up in trip will be very good later half of the season. But no, I think Down memory lane will probably try and go off in front and probably make all. I think that's the way he'll probably be ridden. Derek O'Connor's on board, which is a bit of an interesting one. Not sure why he's riding ahead of the other JP jockeys. But yeah, I'd probably just go for Daddy Longlegs if I was really pushed. But yeah, I think there's winners coming out of this race. And Mr. Wrenn told me off yesterday for giving something away in this race, one of his runners that he's got an eye on. So I'll see if he has anything to say.
Oh, nice. What I will say, Scotty, is because I asked Jamie the same thing about Down memory lane when he had his first maiden hurdle. Derek O'Connor's ridden him every single time, rode him his point, rode him his bumper. So I feel like it's a familiarity thing. And I don't want to be disrespectful because obviously he's a very good jockey. But him versus Paul Townend must be a few pounds better than a Derek O'Connor. Otherwise, Derek O'Connor would have gone pro and been a professional jockey making loads of money. I think that I do think that Daddy Longlegs will win this race, but obviously I'm slightly biased from what I said before. We haven't got substantial evidence to go on behind this. Obviously, from a price perspective now, they probably are about the prices they should be. If I hadn't already backed Daddy Longlegs, I would be maybe possibly betting him at the price it is. I wouldn't want to back Down memory lane now. I wouldn't want to bet anything else in there. So, Jamie, you can tell us if there is a bet. But obviously, I've bet Daddy Longlegs before. We talked about it before. Even a long time out, Jamie, you said, didn't you, when he was 6s, like it was the wrong price for the fact that we knew he was going to come here. But do you find a different bet, Jamie? Because surely you're not steaming into Down memory lane at 6-4, are you? He is. He's good.
No, I think it's a terrible price there from what you've seen at Down Royal, but you can see the potential that he's all speed. Do you know what I mean? It looked like in Down Royal for the naked eye, he's all speed.
Yeah.
There's a lot, as Scott said, there's a lot of winners going to come out of this race, big time. My only problem with Daddy Longlegs, obviously, we said when we back to the 6-1, whatever the time there when we said it. My problem with Daddy Longlegs is that when you hear Willie Mullins' crowd going and saying that he's a dual purpose horse, that means he's in the head of Bring On the Night and all them, and he'll run in the Ascot handicap for the 2.5 mile flat handicap in Ascot in the summer. And that's what's put me off Daddy Longlegs. Now, it was touted last year for a triumph, and then never went down the route. Obviously, he had a setback or whatever, and they kept him for this year. Now, he was impressive with third. There's no doubt about that, but I wouldn't be touching him. No, I think, as Scott says, they're definitely in a sighter to see where they stand with him and where they stand with the rest of them in the yard. I'm very disappointed. I said last night that It's For Me wasn't in here because he beat Caldwell Potter. Caldwell Potter recorded the best RPR at Navan, but it was soft ground, heavy ground. But he did run up the straight. But there was a Gigaro that day. It was the same day just before the race before Colwell Potter, I thought Gigaro, for Gordon, I thought he ran up the straight quicker than Potter to the eye. Whatever, as we always say, Dave's siblings related to Mighty Potter, are they any good? Do you know what I mean? Are they overhyped? Predator's Gold for me, I'm surprised it's going here instead of the Lawlers. I think it's a stare. But as I said to you always, Willie Mullins not afraid to run an Albert Bartlett horse over a 2-mile trip to see if he has the speed then to win an Albert Bartlett. So if he's close up, I would be backing him for an Albert Bartlett as a speculative bet. Absurd for me, just watch it because it's come back from a Melbourne Cup. Beaten out of sight 4-6 at Galway in the summer, but was 4-6 for a reason. I think they've eye on handicaps at Cheltenham, maybe it's a county or a Carl Cup. Mark Palmer just asked me there, where do you think Toto 2 would go? He's probably running the county. Just thinking outside the box for a change. You know what I mean? It's the same horses all the time, and just think about different races. Like Absurd to me would definitely be one because he's used to running in big handicaps on the flat, so they're sure they have an eye on something on there. The other horse there, obviously, is the Big Diane. Is definitely one I'd have in my eye on for a handicap at Cheltenham because of the way he travelled in the race behind Captain Teeman and a missile. The faster they go, the better for him. But he's not going to win this. But it's the fact if he's there and he's around the premises and the bones of 15 to 20 lengths behind, it wouldn't bother me in the slightest because they're definitely eyeing up a handicap. They had their sighter in the November meeting. Fahy, great target trainer. Don't get him out of your thoughts. Just have him in your thoughts. He might not be. He could be out the back of a telly in a Coral Cup. But it's just keep this race in mind because there's going to be a lot of winners from it.
Yeah, definitely agree. And I've just brought up the previous winners of it because I know Isterback's all the way further back, but like I do these figures from like since 2000 because I used to do a Christmas piece on the grade ones, right? There are some nice horses in here. The big outlier in this is if you look at Appreciate It, right? He's the only 6-year-old to have won the race. He's the only horse to have won this and then go and win a Supreme at Cheltenham. You do get horses that might go and win 2 miles at Punchestown. Obviously, Vega didn't win at Cheltenham, but it was still like a good run. The likes of a Mighty Potter, that's a good horse. Abracadabras was close enough up. Araman was almost favourite for a Supreme at some point, wasn't he? The Tullow Tank was favourite in the Valtour Supreme. Like, there's nice horses that are in here. But from a pointer towards Cheltenham, exactly like you've said, Jamie, Willie Mullins will be using this as a citer of where the standard is for potentially the competition more than anything else. And it's not a negative, right? Because there are some legendary horses that are in here. But potentially, I feel like if you've got your Cheltenham Festival type horse, you wouldn't be, I'm not saying you wouldn't be running a minute, but like this, I don't think the Supreme winners in the race is the long and the short of it. And I bet Daddy Longley's because I knew he was going to come in. It is what it is, isn't it?
The only thing I will say there as well, just to be mindful and people forget, is that with the Big Diane, I think he's run more than now. That's probably his 4th run, isn't it? As a novice, he has to run 4 times to run in these handicaps now.
Yeah.
So just everyone to keep that in mind. I see, look at Absurd there now. He's run twice over hurdles.
Just going to say the same, actually. Ben Knight's just said that about Daddy Longlegs. That's the State Man and the St. Roy rule gone now, isn't it? They've done that for a reason.
So they can't do that now. So look at Absurd there. That'll be 3rd run. He'll have to run again before he runs. And it's just keep that in mind for people like Colwell Potter now has run.
Well, exactly. It's massive now because there'll be a lot of information in behind as well, isn't there, in some of these races? And that's the key thing to take out of it. As much as you might have an interest or a bet or be annoyed with it, there's going to, regardless of it, there, like you've already said, Jamie, that there will be winners that come out the back of that. And it's a case of just seeing where they go after. Let's not to swiftly do it, but let's move on because I did put a 90-minute time cap on this just because we've all got a life, haven't we? We haven't got a life. Marie Nash now, first time tongue-tying his beginner's chase. Are the excuses starting to mount up for Marie Nash now? I don't want to say disappointing because it's not. I don't think too many people want to take him on. We knew that this was the race that he was going to go to. Willie Mullins potentially didn't have that many options because a lot of his 2-milers have obviously won races over fences. Basically, whichever way you want to spin it, Marie Nash now hacks up in this, didn't he? Surely. Like he's got to be a good horse over fences. Just looks nice. More exciting for the fact that we just watch him on his debut and just see how he does it, I guess. Jamie, would you be tempted to bet, though?
No, just watch it. I thought that whole My Lord ran well against the FTA Tom staying on, but I think the trip is too short for it. I think it should be in the 2.5 mile beginner's chase, but I think they have Facta File or Manila Cocooner for that the following day. Willie Mullins always runs one of his good beginner's chase horses in the 2.5 mile beginner's chase on the 28th. or 29, 28 or 29th. He always does. But I think Factive File will probably go there and show that he's a really good horse. So, no, there's nothing beating Marine National. No. Oh, no,
Right.
unless he jumps like an absolute bag of hammers or a table. But I don't think, do you know what I mean? Like, I don't, like, look, as I said earlier, Dave, we want Facile Vega to win, really, and we want Marine National to win, because then we can settle the debate in March.
Exactly. And like there with your Mirazor West or your Classical Dreams, Willie Mullins will unleash his supreme horse in a maiden hurdle rather than take the grade ones on at Christmas. There's nothing wrong with Barry Connell doing the same thing, is there?
You'd want Marine National to win this by about 12 lengths and Fer de Brazil to be absolutely nowhere, because I think Mr. Policeman beat Fer de Brazil, didn't he? Only just. So that would show the gap between Marine and Facile and the rest of them both won. So you prove how good they are compared to the rest.
It was like earlier there, Dave, about the Mighty Bandit and Carragisi. Yeah. Like, if people forget that, I should have said that earlier, is that people forget that Vauban didn't make his debut till, was it Punchestown or Ferryhouse in New Year's? Yeah. Do you know what I mean? Like, so, like Marlborough, Salvatore Mundi have to come out in that juvenile scene yet. Then they'll run to DRF, then you'll know. And then in the UK, Sergino, who ran away from Salvatore Mundi at OTI, hasn't come out yet in the UK. So, like to say Mighty Bandit's going to win a Triumph Pearl now, you want your head tested.
Those juveniles are very much hit and miss as well sometimes. Like Vauban got beat first time out, didn't he? To Fildor, I think it was. And then won the Triumph. Espoir d'Allen looked like he was going to win the Spring Juvenile.
Espoir d'Allen would have won the Triumph Pearl that year.
Yeah, he would have done. But then he pulled up or pretty much didn't finish at the DRF, and then he turned into be a good thing. It's just a 4-year-old career. It's very hard to really pin down this early.
Massively agreed.
Rule of thumb, really, you don't really see the Triumph Pearl till after Christmas. Like 80% of the time it works, and it's better off.
And that's the key thing. The Dublin Racing Festival race, bar anything that's good over this side of the sea, the Dublin Racing Festival race is the big boy in it. I know
it's the trial. It's the 100, the number one trial.
And regardless of what Burdett Road does over Christmas, because he will just shit home, Burdett Road is the leading British contender as far as I'm concerned, and I don't expect anything else to come out. Obviously, we don't know, but it will be. We'll see what the Irish have got to send over.
Sergino will be the UK British Cup, not Burdett Road.
If we ever see him. So
we'll see him, right?
Yeah, I'm sure we will. Right, I'm just going to, for the purpose of now, just for everyone's got lives and stuff to go on, haven't they? We can look at one more race each. If you've got two, you can do it, but we'll be fairly quick. I do want to talk about this, the Nevilles Hotel Novices Chase. Right, there was a moment. I mean, I have bet Floor Importer for this. I thought I'd had 50 on him at 5 or 6 to 1, and I only had 25. So I'm a little disappointed, especially when Classical Dream had the entry in the Counter-Star Novices Chase, because as soon as that happened, Floor Importer shortened up a bit more. But it does look like we're going to have at least Classical Dream versus Floor Importer. I see no reason why they wouldn't run Favre de Champ doing this, because nice horse, he's got an older horse, so time's running out in terms of opportunity to go and do stuff. And Corbett's Cross could come in as well, couldn't he? Because Corbett's Cross does want the trip. We're a little bit worried about his jumping. But all of that said, right, I think the first 4 in the betting probably should or could come here. I do really like Floor Importer. I think he's got a proper chance in a Brown Advisory. Given the fact that he's going on against an older Favre de Champ, an older horse like a Classical Dream, and a Corbett's Cross doesn't have the most natural jumper, Floor Importer's got to be a good bet in this. Like the 7 to 2, you probably get big. You probably will get big on the day. Like, I don't think he'll be massively fancied. He's got a great record this time of year around this particular track. I know it's different for the fences, but I think Floor Importer's like a fairly good bet. Like, I think he will batter Classical Dream. Classical Dream beat him that year, didn't he? When he nicked 8 lengths at the start. Different beast over fences now. I think Floor Importer's, like, Classical Dream was very good on his chase debut. I don't think there is that much between them that one should be 7 to 2 and the other should be 2 to 1. Jamie, I know I feel like you do like Floor Importer. Like, you get my side with it. You probably are aware, the same as everyone is, that he's probably susceptible to like younger legs or potentially a better horse. Am I stupid if I want to have a bit more on Floor Importer in this?
7 to 2 is massive, though. It is massive.
Left-handed, isn't it? He's fine left-handed.
Left-handed, yeah. I think I'm a huge fan of Corbett's Cross, but I think Corbett's Cross is going to be put out of his comfort zone too much here and won't jump properly. Well, now if he does jump properly, he's a better kick at the end of the two to him. But
he's the younger legs, isn't he?
he's the one, yeah. But he doesn't jump well enough for me, Dave, to keep up with a Flooring Partner and a Classical Dream if they go absolutely mad up top. And exactly what you're saying, he stole the 8 lengths that time at Leopardstown. But I don't think they really cared, the Cromwell crowd, because they knew they were going to win a Cheltenham Minor that year anyway. So, to me, 2-1, Classical Dream is a bit skimpy under hurdle form. Do you know what I mean? But I
and
won't
as short
be
as 11 to 8, mate.
Yeah, I wouldn't be having a bit. I don't know. Depends how the week is going. It's a tough one. It's between the two of them. In hindsight, it is between the two of them. But I'll sit on the fence at the moment. But the way Classical Dream jumped
Was good
on debut, it's got me saying, yeah, is he back? But see, Classical Dream could turn around and turn on the stinker like he did that time when he jumped the hurl. I'd say 10 times higher than the hurl that time when he ran.
He's good. He's got a great record fresh, isn't he? When he has that second run, sometimes he flops, doesn't he?
Yeah, and that Matheson that year, like, do you know what I mean? He was well touted, but I'm gonna sit in the fence. But no, yeah, it's about 72 is huge for
close to he's close to a bettable price. You're like 4 to 192. I bet he's one of those that on the day, if he's 4 to 192, you'll definitely have a couple of quid on, wouldn't you?
Yeah.
Good lad. Scotty, come on, join the camp. Flooring Porter, this is the time to get paid right before he's got to take on a stay away fee.
Oh, mate, I don't know. I think it's probably the race of Christmas. Like in terms of, I think anything bar 2 could win this race. I wouldn't be surprised if anything popped up.
I'll say sorry, only just to cut in. This is rude of me, but like the gold, like the King George and the Savills Chase having like those two monster clashes. We've got it with the novice division as well, don't we? I know Stay Away Faye's not in there, but we've got like a really good looking Feltham and a really good looking Nevilles novices Chase. Sorry, I'll shut up now.
No, you're right. I think Stay Away Faye is the only one missing, probably. Corbett's Cross will reverse the form of Grange Clare West if they're both declared. 100% on that. I was not giving any respect to Corbett's Cross after his Chase debut, but he actually impressed me. And I think there's winners to come out of that race. I think Monty Star, who came third in that race, I think he's definitely going to be one that will be progressing. But they're 3 nut jobs, aren't they? The head of the market. Classical Dream. He's got his quirks. Corbett's Cross likes to jump through wings. Flooring Porter, if you stuck a jetpack on him, he'd end up in space. I think the solid one here is, I've just seen in the comments, Gaelic Warrior and Classical Dream are the 2 most impressive novice chase performances this season. I think Favre de Chamdou's way up there, and I think he's definitely a play in this race, even at each way at 11 to 2. I'd be backing him. I've already backed him for the National Hunt Chase. I'd definitely be sure he'll be up there when push comes to shove. And I think he's the most solid jumper out of all of them from what we've seen so far. Classical Dream's got the slickness, hasn't he? He's got the star quality. But again, I just don't know whether you can trust him.
The other way around as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, mate. Flooring Porter for me. Just forget about anything he does beforehand. Obviously, Cheltenham he won earlier in the season, so that's beforehand. But that was Cheltenham. That's his course. I would massively be on Flooring Porter come the festival. But just from this perspective, I will be on Favre de Chamdou, and he'd be one of my stronger fancies for the whole of Christmas, to be honest.
Oh, let's go. Right. We can either wrap it up now because it's the 90-minute window, or is there any other races you want to cover, Jamie?
No, that's it. I suppose the only decent race I suppose to have is the Home by Lily Irish Point. Home by Lily, won the race last year. Gave £9 to Bob Ottinger last day. It was a good run. He was only beaten 5 lengths, so if it was after level weights, he'd probably won the race, like he won last year in Lismullen. For the sakeness of the potential and to make the stairs hurl better, I'd be hoping Irish Point wins, because then it's a better race, the stairs hurled. Are they going to run both Irish Point and Tupu in it? They should. But
if he wins this, they have to, don't they?
They have to, but are they thinking, like, is Constitution Hill going to come to Punchestown at the end of the season this year instead of an Aintree hurl, which I think hopefully possibly will happen? So Irish Point, to me, is the biggest certainty of all time in an Aintree hurl. Of all time.
But I think that they'll be definitely trying to win this to find out where they go with him next.
Of course, yeah. And as I said to you, a horse that can win at 2 miles for me and then goes up to 3 miles, I mean, is a very good horse, and and I hope he wins for the sake of the stairs hurdle. But like, it's whatever. It's your own opinion. 6 to 4 apiece. Like, do you know what I mean? I won't be having a bet in the race. I'll be just watching it.
But when the last time we talked about this as well, Ranting Racing on Monday, I think he was still 9-4 then. So like I don't want to say like the wise guy horse, but like it's an obvious race, right? Monkfish goes to Tremor, so he's not running in the race. It's going to feel down to it's a match between the two of them. And again, like I know it's easy to say in like hindsight, but they were always going for this race. Like if you wanted to get on Irish Point, you probably should have got on before now. And he could go and win this. We don't know for definite if he stays. He shapes like he probably does. You'd be mad to be bullish saying that he goes and wins this. There'll be a lot of people that will be the same with Home by the Lee, though. They'll say that he's got the proven distance, all that sort of stuff, the form that he's a good thing at 6-4. So it is one of those where it's not necessarily a coin flip, but I mean, leave it alone if you haven't got involved already. Scotty, do you like the look of this race? Do you think Irish Point could potentially be a stayers hurdle horse?
100%, yeah. I think he's been crying out for a step up in trip, or I'd go with it anyway. I'd be on his side 100%. Again, I think he's a good thing here. Home by the Lee, I think, is pretty exposed. I think we know what you get with him. He's always got some kind of excuse. Home by the Lee, too many excuses for me. Irish Point's definitely ahead of him. So I'll keep it short and sweet. Irish Point will win. Simple as that.
Home by the Lee sort of came out of nowhere, just kept progressing, and because he kept backing it up, you almost had to believe that he was that good. But it sounds really rude. Me and Jamie, do you remember when he went novice chasing, Jamie? And I think it was the second time up he won, didn't he? He's been one of those that used to be our best friend. When I look at him now, I don't even remember him when I look at him. Like, obviously I do, but I don't see him in the same light as I used to. I feel like, unfortunately, the old Home by the Lee that I thought I knew is not an 11-8 favourite for a Christmas hurdle, regardless of who he's in against. So I don't even know who he is anymore. But Scotty, was there any other races you wanted to look at, or we
just going to quickly mention, because Borat's going to go mad if we don't shout out Panda Boy. I looked at the race, so I haven't got a strong opinion, but I think he's 140 now. I wouldn't be touching him for this race, but I'd be sneakily looking at the Kim Muir potentially for him to get into that. That's when I'd be backing him.
In the Paddy Power chase? Is it the Paddy Power chase? He was beating on the line. I understand what he's saying. I actually backed him in that race last year, Scott, and he never got home. I think he's a 2.5 miler. I think he's a plate horse, to be honest with you.
He could be a plate horse as well, but I mean, if 140, he should be getting in off that mark, shouldn't he? So
he should, but like British tax it will 145, 146. Does he really stay? Maybe he didn't get home in the softer ground last year. Do you know what I mean? I don't know with him. I'd like to back him. I probably will back him, but I'd say the crowd that he owned. Oh no, I know I don't have the clue there. I'd say they want to win our Cheltenham, and Martin Brezel is very good at target training. Do you know what I mean? He's run him over 2 miles. Do you know what I mean? And then like he did with fast or slow, like last year, 2 miles, 2.5, then maybe, and then step him up. It could be the ultimate horse, but it's just in my nagging doubt that he doesn't stay 3 miles. I think he's more of a plate horse for me.
Martin Brezel, he normally sends horses over 2.5, doesn't he? I think. Yeah. City Island won a Ballymore, that's 2.5. Fast or Slow Coral Cup should have won over 2.5. And then I think, What Do You Want place in the Ballymore, he came third.
Yeah.
The intermediate, trippy kind of trainer, if there is such a thing.
Yeah, like Fast or Slow would have won that Coral Cup if it didn't piss rain on the day, like, do you know what I mean? So
he would have pissed it, yeah.
Yeah, he would absolutely hosed up. But he's definitely they have their eye on Panda Boy for handicap at 100%.
Nice. Right, I'm going to wrap it up there. Just on this last bit. I know you're saying Monkfish should be favourite for the race. The reason he's been pulled up by a couple of bookies is he's going to Tremor. So please don't gamble.
Tomorrow New Year's Day.
That's it, because then that's it. Like, not saying he should be favourite, but if Monkfish was coming in, he wouldn't be a 9-2 poke. He is 9-2, and there's a reason behind it.
Gary
let's leave it there, gentlemen. Tomorrow is Christmas Day. We've got 9 hours, something like that, until Christmas. I don't even know what the hours are. There's a period of time between now and Christmas, but more importantly, it will be Boxing Day. There is lots of good racing to get excited about. We've covered all of the good stuff, I think. But also, please remember, there is a whole fuck ton of shit. There are so many races. There is so much substandard stuff. And as much as we want to go and search in glory of these Christmas plots for yet stables and all that sort of stuff, my best advice I could give you for the Christmas period is keep the powder as dry as possible. Don't look at it because there's loads of meetings and loads of races that it's the be-all and end-all. There are lots of races that potentially trainers are just using now to find out for targets further down the line. So obviously have a little bet if you want to have a little bet. Pay attention to what we say because best judges on the show, aren't we? But like I say, don't get overly excited. And also, it's a time to spend with the family and stuff. Like I know the Boxing Day, there's the football and the other sports, the darts, all those things are going on. But don't get consumed by the betting side of it because there's going to be some seriously good bets in January. Trials Day this year is going to be filthy. Dublin Racing Festival this year is going to be dirty. Betfair have their meeting with the Betfair Hurdle. There's just loads of good opportunities coming up. And then obviously we're not even talking about Cheltenham, Aintree, Punchestown. Like this year, there are going to be some seriously good bets. So enjoy yourselves, drink responsibly, gamble responsibly, and I mean, sort of like up the porter, right? Up the porter. We'll end on that note. So we'll do a little wrap up. Everyone's best bets. We know what Jamie's was. He kicked off it right at the start of it. Best bet for the whole of Christmas from Jamie was.
Tell her the name Ben Pauling in the tolworth hurdle.
Love it. Scotty, best bet for the festive period?
Be Riders on the Storm in the second race at Aintree, Boxing Day, in the Veterans Chase, handicap chase.
That's mad, isn't it? Right, so I would have probably said Mighty Bandit, but you guys tempered my enthusiasm. I don't even know what to say. It's my show. I've asked the question. I've sort of caught myself out a little bit. Punty, right? But I think that Sherry Dam wins the 11.55 at Aintree. If it doesn't, chase on Mighty Bandit, and then if it does, Mighty Bandit gets beat as well, then never unsubscribe from the channel and just never listen to me again would be my Christmas advice. Gentlemen, I appreciate your time. Scotty, thank you for coming in last minute. Jamie, honestly, this year you've been such a massive supporter and a massive help with all this stuff. I appreciate it much more than you probably even realise. But soon it'll be the new year. Me and Jamie get a little bit of a break now, unless he's moonlighting somewhere else. But enjoy the break as well, Jamie, mate. There's a lot of stuff going on in there. Just kick back, relax, and we will be back doing some dirty, filthy content in the new year. Me and Jamie have some absolute beast planned. We're just going to make sure that we let you guys know what we fancy, because hopefully we'll make you all a few quid. Appreciate all the support, gentlemen. If you haven't already subscribed to the channel, please make sure you do. And leave a like, leave a comment, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas. Adios.